and this is Google Pixelbook. Love the name. This thing was announced alongside the Pixel 2, and it's in Google's holiday season product lineup alongside the Home Mini and other things like that. And this thing is really weird to me. Now, I love the Chromebook Pixel, which was the last high-end Chromebook that Google made, but I was very careful to only recommend it to certain smaller groups of people who knew what they were getting themselves into. This Pixelbook, while it is an amazing piece of hardware, is even harder to recommend to an even smaller group of people because of all its weirdness. So Pixelbook is a high-end laptop with a touchscreen that folds over into tablet mode and runs Chrome OS, and it starts at $1,000. So okay, aesthetically, it is pretty nice. It takes after the Pixel smartphones with the glass window up top and this all-metal, very angular, boxy design. It's super thin. I don't even think I've ever held a laptop this thin before. And this thing feels like more like a thick tablet instead of a thin laptop. It's crazy sharp. So I'm honestly a big fan of the aesthetics on the outside. The soft palm rests surrounding the touchpad is really cool. Minimal fingerprints are going to show with this design, with this silver and white color combo. And even the hinge is pretty sturdy and minimal. The thing is flanked by 2 USB-C ports, one on either side, and of course both can be used for charging. And there's a headphone jack. And that's it. I guess that's all the I/O most laptops seem to need these days. So that doesn't strike me as weird at the core. And inside, you're looking at a 7th generation Intel Core i5, 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage, really beefy specs at the baseline version, and you can bump it up to an i7 and 16 gigs of RAM and a 0.5 terabyte NVMe SSD if you want, which is nuts. And then all up at the front is the 12-inch 4x3 display. It's a crispy, bright 2400 by 1600 touchscreen display. The whole thing is fanless, all solid state, no moving parts. Basically, this hardware actually has a lot going on that wouldn't make you blink twice at that $1,000 price tag. But here's the thing, and you probably saw this coming. At $1,000, you can say, okay, this is a really nice hardware, I can see that, but this thing is running Chrome OS. You know what else you can get for $1,000? The highest end, biggest, newest iPad Pro. You know what else you can get for $1,000? The Microsoft Surface laptop, a MacBook Air. So this thing is kind of competing with those in that price point. And then my philosophy on 2-in-1s has always kind of been, when you're trying to be both a laptop and a tablet, you inevitably get a little bit worse at being a laptop than dedicated laptops, and a little bit worse at being a tablet than dedicated tablets. So this is a decent laptop and a decent tablet, but it's not fantastic at either. But even more awkward about the Pixelbook is just all the weird quirks it has that add up. These bezels around the display, definitely huge, like bigger than I think they'd need to be. I understand, you need some place to put your hands when you're holding a thing in tablet mode, but damn, that is just weird. The speakers are just kind of behind the keyboard, and they don't sound that great. Now, I get that it's thin, and it's probably the only place they could fit these speakers, but couldn't they put a grill about the top? It's weird. Flipping it around into tablet mode and having the keyboard behind the display like this, no matter how long I use it, it feels weird every time. I'm constantly pressing keys on the back. I know other 2-in-1 laptops do this too, and it turns off the keyboard so you're not actually typing anything. But still, holding something like this and trying to ignore all the buttons on the back as easy as they are to press is just kind of weird. And I've said for years, I've always found using touchscreen laptops a little bit awkward because of the hinge wobble. This one is no exception to that rule. And the screen jittering, even though the performance is fast, when I scroll through menus or long lists or long pages on the Pixelbook, there's some serious ghosting and stuttering of animations that I did not expect to see on a Chromebook with a Core i5. And then there is the Pixelbook Pen. This thing is a $100 accessory, first of all, so there's that. Long metal tube with a battery inside, one button, and the stylus tip. $100. It doesn't come with any replacement tips like even the iPad's Pencil or Surface stylus do, and most others do. Weird. This thing uses quadruple A batteries. What? Have you ever heard of these? Luckily, they're supposed to last about a year each, but wow, okay, that is also pretty weird. And you'd think they would have thought of this, but there's really just no place to keep it when you're not using it. There's no magnet, no clip. If you don't have that, it's just kind of rolling around loose. And you have to press it obnoxiously hard to actually use it. Has anyone actually tried to use this stylus? I have a hard time finding other people's reviews talking about this, but maybe mine has some sort of problem because it doesn't work at all with normal pressure that I might use with Apple's Pencil, for example. The only way I can get it to work reliably is by pressing so hard that I'm literally bending the display a little. Like you can see it here, And at that point, it obviously doesn't feel natural anymore. Super weird. And then there is Chrome OS. So you guys already know Chrome pretty well. Obviously, it's been limited for a while by not having all of the professional apps someone buying a $1,000 laptop might use. But to be fair, this is all most people really need. It's all your web apps and all of your Android apps from the Play Store. But there's no doubt you can do more with a full-fledged desktop OS like on a Mac or a Windows laptop. Most of the Adobe suite is missing, certain apps you won't find if you're a student. Even on the iPad, the App Store is much more massive and, more importantly, more optimized. And then another weird thing is, now that you have the Play Store and the Chrome Store, a lot of times on this Pixelbook you have two options for the same service, the web app in Chrome or the Android app. So YouTube, for example, there's two icons in my launcher, a web app for youtube.com or the Android YouTube app. And they do a good job of distinguishing between them so you never really get them confused, but it's just kind of weird to sometimes open the YouTube app in desktop mode when I'm using it as a laptop, but then other times open it as a tablet mode when I want to kick back. But look, among all this weirdness, don't get me wrong, Chrome OS definitely has its advantages, like some really cool features on this guy. Pixelbook automatically tethers to your Google Pixel if you have one for mobile data when you don't have Wi-Fi. That's pretty cool. It has a couple custom buttons on the keyboard that you probably won't find anywhere else. My favorite probably being the Assistant button to call Google Assistant anytime you want. Clearly you can see how hard Google is pushing it. It has a power button and a volume button on the side, kind of like a normal tablet, so you can hold down the power button for a second to lock it when you're going away. And if you pair it to your phone, you can unlock Pixelbook with your phone's fingerprint sensor. That is seriously cool. And the stylus has, of course, that one button where if you hold it while circling an image, it'll do a Google search for that image to find what it is or where it came from. But are those few things enough to justify you spending your $1,000 on this over a Surface laptop or over an iPad Pro or over a MacBook Air? I don't really think so, and so it's really, really hard for me to recommend Pixelbook. Like I said, when you make a 2-in-1 like this, you inevitably get a little bit worse at being a laptop and a little bit worse at being a tablet, so it's just kind of okay at both. Again. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.